to the session. This is Sweta Roy, your English Master Teacher at Vedantu. Welcome to ICSE Grade 10th Prodigy Series, and the chapter that we are going to deal with, rather the poem that we are going to cover today, is a beautiful poem, a very heart-touching and thought-provoking poem, quite relevant in the contemporary lives. It's by James Patrick Kinney, and the name of the poem is The Cold Within. So before starting off with the poem, guys, when you please do let me know when you hear the word cold. Okay, when you hear the word cold, what comes in your mind? Please do let me know the words in the chat box associated with cold. What do you think of when you come to, when you encounter this word called cold? What comes in your mind immediately? Please do let me know in the chat box. See, you have also, read another poem, which is not in your syllabus. It's there in the CBSE syllabus, right? That's called Fire and Ice. Okay. So I would definitely want you people to go through that poem as well. It's a beautiful poem. Again, a very thought-provoking poem, just like this poem. That there also, ice stood for coldness. So what do we exactly associate cold with? Please do let me know in the chat box. Hurry up, guys. Do post your answers in the chat box quickly. Okay, so first I would be beginning with the word of the day. Thank you so much, dear students, all my lovely students, for posting your comments. So this word was suggested by Radhika. Thank you so much, Radhika. The word is grievance. Okay, it means a real or imagined cause for complaint, especially unfair treatment. For example, a sentence with this word that Radhika has given us is a website which enables staff to air their grievances. Well done, Radhika. Thank you so much for posting your comment. And guys, please do go through the comment section, because you could enrich your vocabulary every day by going through just the comment section, guys, because so many of your friends do post the word of the day with meaning, with also its usage. So that is going to really enhance your vocabulary. Okay, so that is why I have included this practice in our sessions. All right, so do let me know, guys, whether you are liking this practice, whether it is working for you people. Okay, so please do give me a high five if you think it is working for you people. Give me a high five in the chat box, everyone. Please hurry up. Okay, so guys, let us begin. So most of you have already given your comments regarding, the words which come in your mind immediately when you think about the word cold, right? So let us see what the poem has to talk about this coldness. What is cold within? What do you understand by cold within? So for that, we would have to proceed with the poem. Before that, I would like to share with you a quote which you will find very much relevant in the poem, connected to the poem. And that is, unity is strength and division is weakness. You must have heard the very popular story regarding, united we fall and, united we stand and divided we fall. You must have heard this popular saying, right? You must have also, you must be also acquainted with the story behind this, right? So guys, I want each one of you to type in the chat box with a hashtag "we are united." Okay, so do let me know, do type in the chat box with a hashtag "we are united." We all are equal, we all are united. What is uniting us? The common bond of humanity, right? We all are human beings, right? So this bond of humanity unites us, makes us one, despite all our differences, right? No two individual is same. We all are different from the others, but that's the beauty, right? That's the beauty. But united, unity is something which keeps us together. The human bond is something which makes us united. Okay, so please do let me know. Please do post in the chat box. We all are united. Okay, by human bond, right? So let me see. Let us go through the poem and see how powerful this bond can be. Okay, so let's begin, guys. Are we excited? Show me some excitement in the chat box. Give me a quick high five in the chat box, a thumbs up in the chat box, so that we can proceed with the poem. Are you people ready? Yes? Give me a quick thumbs up. Are you people ready? I'm super excited to unfold this, unravel this poem to you people. Okay, so let me start off with the poet. Now, the poet is James Patrick Kinney. He was an American poet born in 1923, and he is best known for his inspirational poem, The Cold Within. Okay, so that is the poem that we are going to delve into. All right, guys. So quickly give me a high five in the chat box and let's enter the poem. Let's start with the preface to the poem. Very, very important. Please do take note of the important points from here. First of all, guys, it was written in the 1960s by James Patrick Kinney, this particular poem, and it was written during the African American Civil Rights Movement. Okay, so please do let me know in the comment section about your views, your inputs, or your knowledge of regarding African American civil rights movement. What happened? The historical background of this African American civil rights movement. Why was this movement? Why had this movement taken place? What was the issue raised? Please do let me know in the chat box. This is your homework, and I will see in the next one short video what have you posted. I will post your comments in the I'll show your comments in the next class. So please do post your answers. All right, guys, because this is important to understand the backdrop of the poem. Okay. Now, when this poem came, it was notorious due to the criticism on society. Of course, we will see how it criticizes the society. We will get to know when we, go into the poem. Later, there was a commercial press named Lycorian, which published this poem for the first time in their magazine. Okay, now this poem is a reminder to overcome our personal demons. Now, what are our personal demons? Our prejudices. Okay, our prejudices are our personal demons. Okay, so we think that we are different from the others. So we develop some kind of jealousy or some kind of hatred, right, with the other person just on the basis of certain prejudices, right? So those are our personal demons. Now we will elaborate on our personal demons, with the help of this poem further. And this is open to the wisdom of an egalitarian view. Now this is something which is propagated by this poem. Okay, now what is this egalitarian view? You must be knowing this. It's an attitude where everybody is considered equal, right? So that is why I told you at the beginning of the poem to please write in hashtag we all are united, we all are equal, right? So guys, please stay tuned throughout the session because you have some very, very, very interesting quiz questions in the session, which is going to make the concept of the poem absolutely crystal clear, and it's going to make the session very, very, very enjoyable for you people. Okay, so now guys, please don't go anywhere. Please stay tuned throughout the poem, right? It's very, very important. Now this is something which is the technical aspect of the poem. Please note the piece comprises of 8 quatrains. Okay, what's a quatrain, guys? Anybody from the chat? Anybody in the chat box? Please do mention what's a quatrain. What's a quatrain? Anyone? Anyone? Okay, let's see. 4 lines. Quatrains means 4 lines. Okay. So in one stanza, how many lines do we have? 4 lines. How many quatrains do we have in total? 8 quatrains. Okay. Now approximately the rhyme scheme is ABCB. Okay, and this uses a simple language and structure to ensure that the message is correctly conveyed, properly conveyed to the readers. Okay, and we will also see a lot of visual imagery so that we are engaged in the poem throughout. So are we excited to unfold the wonderful and a very, very, very thoughtful poem, which is very much applicable to your lives, to all of our lives, right? So show me your excitement in the chat box. Come on, give me a thumbs up. Okay, chalo. Now we would be entering into the line by line explanation. So the very first stanza, please do read it aloud along with me. That's going to enhance your reading skills at the same time. So we all need to enhance our reading skills. So please read it along with me. 6 humans trapped by happenstance in bleak and bitter cold Each one possessed a stick of wood, or so the story is told. Okay, so this is a kind of narrative poem, right? What kind of poem is this? It's a narrative poem. From the style itself, you have understood, right? The story is told, so the poet is narrating something, right? So let's see. First, we will check the vocabulary part. Okay, very, very important, guys. Again, you need to enhance your vocabulary. Happenstances by chance. Okay, bleak is dark. Okay, dark. Bleak is dark. Bitter is difficult to bear. This was the vocabulary, and now we would be going into the explanation. Okay, so we open to a blank, a bleak tableau. Now, what is this bleak tableau? That means it's absolutely dark image, right? That we can see in the poem. The poet recounts a tale. Okay, I told you it's a narrative poem. 6 persons. Now, please note the word humans here, not persons. Humans, which is again a reminder of our humanity. Okay, not our individuality, but of our humanity, which we share with everyone. Okay, with which we are united. So that needs to be noted. Okay, so these people are caught together in severe winter. Okay, and each of them are probably having a single stick of wood in their hand, right? This is the literal level. Now, what is the next step? After understanding the literal level or the surface level, we need to understand the symbolic level. So let us move ahead. So I told you, note the word humans, right? It is important that he wants to draw attention to the gathering as specific individuals rather than a collective group. Okay, so it is important to understand the bond of humanity that we share. They are trapped by happenstance, which means no escape from a situation created by chance. Happenstance, I told you in the vocabulary part, it means chance. Okay, and the adjectives dark and bitter describe the cold, and it is adding to the ominous feeling. So we are almost, from the very beginning of the poem, we can have this, we are having this ominous feeling. Ominous feeling is something bad is going to happen, right? That's the ominous feeling. So from the very beginning, we can understand. Now, guys, it is question time for you people. Okay, are we ready? Are we ready to see the very first quiz question? Everyone should participate, guys, everyone. So here it is. Which proof of human sin is mentioned in the cold within? Which proof of human sin? Bias, prejudice, greed, or lust? I have told you at the very beginning of the poem. So please do mention in the chat box. Everyone, please. Okay, so it is prejudice. Okay, prejudice. So now we will be delving into the various kind of prejudices that we share. Okay, so let's move ahead with the second stanza. Their dying fire in need of logs, the first man held his back, for of the faces round the fire he noticed one was black. Okay, what is this saying? What is the poet saying? First, let us see the vocabulary. Dying is about to extinguish. So the fire was about to extinguish. Okay. Now, the second stanza cuts into a key character in the story. This is a narrative poem. So the poet has already mentioned that it's going to be a story. So he's almost narrating a story, but of course in a verse form, right? So, what is the character in the story? The key character is the dying fire, right? The fire which is almost ready to be extinguished. Now, the group's prospects do not look good. Why? Because we see a man, okay, in the heart of winter, keeping warm is essential to survival. So, if something is, what is keeping them warm? The fire. But the fire is on the verge of becoming extinct or extinguished, right? So, what will keep them warm if the fire is extinguished, right? So, it is important. The fire is the key, you know, is the key to their survival. So the fire here is also, now that was the literal level. Now symbolically, it offers a chance for salvation if each person would use their respective logs to feed it. So how could they keep the fire burning? Remember this, all of them had a log of wood. Each one had a log of wood. Now they needed to keep the fire burning by feeding the fire with their log of wood, right? Now, the dying fire is a silent appeal to the group to help themselves by helping each other, right? Now, today we are all in a situation of a crisis, right? So, don't you think the poetry, this poem has a contemporary relevance, right? So, we can help each other and thereby help ourselves. This is that time of the, this is also that phase, okay? So here also they could help each other and thereby help themselves. So in order to help ourselves, we need to help each other at this point of time. Same for this poem. Okay. So let's have a look. Now the first person, as we saw in the second stanza, what did he do? He withheld his log. Why did he withheld his log? Why did he withhold his log? Because he only because it would benefit a black person. Now what is this prejudice? Racism. Okay, what is racism? Discrimination because of a person's race, black and white. We have seen that in Africa also. Apartheid, right? The policy of apartheid, what was it? Racial discrimination, right? Now the man will not even warm himself if he looks down upon uh, the other one simply on the basis of the skin color. So if a person of a different skin color is gaining from his log, he would not even feed his log, even if it means helping himself. So don't you think, guys, this is foolishness? How many of you think that this is foolishness? Give me a quick thumbs up in the chat box. Don't you think this is foolishness? What do you think? What is your input? Please post your inputs in the chat box. Okay. So now let's move ahead let's move ahead the next stanza. The next man, looking across the way, saw one not of his church. So the other man was not of his church. That means different religion, and couldn't bring himself to give the fire his stick of birch. Very, very, very important again. So in the first stanza, we had seen racial discrimination, prejudice number one, sin number one. In the second stanza, we are seeing religious differences. Sin number two, religious bigotry, right? So birch is a tree and cross here means a cross. That's vocabulary. Now what is the person saying? What is the second stanza saying? He saw the second person saw another person who was not from his religion, who was not from his church, who was not sharing his same religious ideology, right? And therefore, because of that, he would be not giving his log, okay, to keep the fire burning. What is this? Prejudice. Again, what kind of prejudice? Religious bigotry, which speaks of intolerance, only because they do not share the same opinion or ideas. So don't you think, guys, this religious bigotry is so very applicable in the contemporary society? Don't you think that we, on the basis of religion, are creating divide amongst ourselves and we are losing that bond of humanity? And as a result of that, all of us are suffering, right? What do you think about it? Please do know, please do mention in the comment section. Don't you think this is so very relevant in today's context? Okay. So, again, a question for you people. Why did the second person refused to give up the stick? Because one of them was black, one of them was poor, he was a religious bigot, one of them was rich. Come on, people. Answers in the chat box. I am giving you time, guys. Please do mention your answers in the chat box. Please do. Please do participate. Everyone should participate. Okay, let's have a look at the answer. It is because he was a religious bigot. How many of you have got it correct? High five, please. Okay, I'm sure most of you have got this correct. Okay, people. So now let's proceed with the next stanza. So what do you think? What do you expect? What can be the end of the story or end of the poem rather? Will they survive? Will someone share their log? Share his log? What do you think? Let's see. Let's see. Let's unravel this mystery. Okay. So stanza 4 says there was a third person. Okay, who was in tattered clothes, torn clothes. What did he do? He gave his coat a hitch. Why should his log be put to use to warm the idle rich? Let us see first the vocabulary. Tattered is torn. Hitch is to pull with a jerk. Okay. So that is showing his, his attitude of not sharing the log with anyone else. Okay. Idle is lazy. How many of you are idle? Okay, let's proceed. Let's see what the poem is saying, what the stanza is saying. So this poor man, his tattered clothes is definitely a hint of his poverty, and he perhaps felt more cold. He perhaps felt the coldness more than the others because of his tattered clothes, and therefore we notice that he gave a coat. He gave his coat a hitch. That means he tried to adjust his coat closer to his body so that he could warm himself because of his inadequate clothing, right? And what do we see here? He was a victim of classism or discrimination based on social or economic class. He considered those who were favorably placed than him to be idle. So he thought that the rich men are idle. Okay, so why should I give my log? Why should I share my log to help someone who is idle? Right? He is defensive, and in his eyes, the rich do not deserve his meager ration, and he will not part. He is also not ready to part with his stick. Okay, so this was the fourth stanza. So I hope you people are enjoying the session. Okay, so if you want to join us further and gain 100% knowledge and 100% marks, what you need to do is just need to visit the link, and you could enjoy unlimited live classes with fun and high level quiz questions. No more waiting for Menti sessions. You would be having quiz questions in each and every session. Okay, plus you could compete with the students throughout the world. You get a lot of exposure, interactive replays. Even the replays will have live quizzes where you can participate, and also the leaderboard. Plus, you have downloadable content. You can download the content with handwritten notes of the master teachers, and doubts are going to be solved then and there with the help of class teachers. Okay. Plus, you have free 5,000 plus micro courses and crash courses for competitive exams. That too in less price. So what you need to do is visit the link in the description box and pin comment. Use the coupon code SWRE Pro. Okay? Now these are the three types of plans, and in each plan you will have. So I'll talk about the first plan first. You will have live interactive online class, test series, analysis, test notes, assignments, doubt solving in the class. Okay, that is for light. And then we have, you can try this for even a month. Then we have the classic. Okay, for classic you have a special feature on mobile app, doubt clearing on mobile app. Okay, you can also try this for a month. And the final one is the plus one. Okay, where you will also get a personal mentor. That is something which is very, very, very interesting. Okay, so no more piling up of your doubts, right? And you can also try this for a month. And guys, you can purchase each one for a month, light, classic, jo bhi hai, whatever it is, you can purchase this. Okay, you can go get unlimited micro courses as well, right? All these are for free. Micro courses, crash courses are for free. Okay, this is the batch starting dates. Okay, please note CBSE, ICSE, Maharashtra Board, JEE and NEET. Okay, these are the batch starting dates. Please take a note of this. Okay, so now we would be moving ahead with the fifth stanza. The rich man the rich man just sat back and thought of the wealth he had in store and how to keep what he had earned from the lazy, shiftless poor. So now, in the previous stanza, we saw the perspective of a poor man, okay, who thought that the rich man was idle. Now let's see the perspective of a rich man. What does he think? Shiftless is lacking initiative or unambitious. Okay. Now, the rich man, one second. The rich man, caught up holding his riches in his head, is oblivious to reality. Each one is oblivious to reality, right? What is the reality? The dying fire. And what did they need to do? Of course, to keep it burning by, feeding it with their logs that they had. Each one of them had a log, but no one was ready to part with it, right? So greed blinds him as he selfishly keeps his wealth. He even miserly holds on to his stick, keeping it from the poor, whom he perceives as aimless and lazy. So according to the poor man, the rich were lazy, okay? And according to the rich man, the poor were aimless, right? So again, we find a division on the basis of economic and social class, right, guys? Okay, question for you people. Why didn't the rich man give up the stick? Because he didn't want to share his possession with a black person. He didn't want to share his possession with a poor man, with a religious man, or none of the above. Come on, people. I want the answers in the chat box. Come on, people. Everyone should answer. Okay, let's quickly see what have you got. Yes, it is very simple. Just now we did. It is because he did not want to share his possession with a poor man. High five people, those of you who have got it correct. I hope you people have understood till here. Have you people understood? Is this absolutely clear to all? Please do let me know in the chat box. Please do write clear, clear, clear if it is absolutely clear. Okay, chalo. Let me see some excitement. Let me see some energy. With the same energy, we will proceed further. Okay, stanza 6. The black man's face bespoke revenge as the fire passed from his side, for all he saw in his stick of wood was a chance to spite the white. Now, what is it saying? First, let us check the vocabulary. Bespoke is to indicate or point out, and spite is hurt or injure. Okay. Now, what does the stanza say? Even the victim becomes an abuser here, because initially, what did we see? The white man having a scornful attitude at the black man, right? Now, the black man was the victim. Now, here we see the black man who was the so-called victim. He is also becoming the abuser. Why? Because he had also experienced racism. Don't you think so? So, revenge for the atrocities he had faced. And this actually reminds me of Shylock. Shylock of Merchant of Venice, guys. Don't you think he also had faced atrocities in the hands of the Christians, and that is why he became villainous, right? So same concept would apply even here. Racism for the atrocities he had faced from the white people was the only thing in his mind. So that was ingrained very deeply, entrenched very deeply, just like Shylock. Okay? And he saw the fire pass from his side, which means he realized that the fire was getting spent, the fire was becoming extinguished, it is dying. But the spark of human kindness had died in him. Very, very, very important line. Okay, the spark of human kindness had died in each one of them along with the fire. Okay, and literally he chose to let the group's fire die. He would perish, but he would take the others he hated down with him as well. Neither he would survive nor he would let the others to survive. Don't you think this is also happening in today's context? Right? So we are all facing this problem of prejudice. We are all blinded by this prejudice. Okay? So this is a very, very, very severe warning by the poet. The poets and the authors, they are visionaries. Okay? So next stanza is talking about the last man. What do you think, guys? Would they die? Would they survive? What do you think? What is your input? Please tell me in the chat box. What do you think? What would be the ending of the poem? What do you apprehend? Let's check. Let's check. Okay, the last man of this forlorn group did not accept for gain, giving only to those who gave was how he played the game of life and death. A very, very, very serious game. Let's see what happened. First vocabulary, forlorn is hopeless. Please note, forlorn is hopeless and not means nothing. Okay. The poet foreshadows the fate of the group. From the very beginning, we had this apprehension that this group will not survive. Okay. Now, finally, for the very first time, he is giving his judgment. Okay. What is he saying? That this group is hopeless, forlorn, hopeless. Until now, the poet had reserved his judgment, right? He was allowing the readers, he was just describing the scene in front of us and allowing the readers, to examine each individual and come to the conclusion. So I was also constantly asking you, what do you think? What do you think? What is your input? Okay, what is your view? Same was the poet doing with us. He was only giving the description and he wanted us to, think and examine each of the individual's activity and come to a conclusion. Okay, so let us see. We find that the last person also perpetuates, continues, okay, the vicious cycle of inertia, inactiveness. He also doesn't give his law. Okay, each hopes that the other will do something. This is a common feature. This we always see. Each one is looking at the other one that he will do. Okay, so none are willing to take the initiative. Okay, so that initiation is not taken by anyone, and we see this in our daily lives as well. Very few people are ready to take the initiative. We are so idle, we are so, we are also having this inertia, inactiveness, right? Nobody is ready to help, thinking that the other person will help, somebody else will do it. Okay, so this is a very, very, very subtle reminder for all of us. Okay, and then the last person played a losing move in the game. What is this game? A metaphor for the game of life. Now this game is a metaphor here. It's talking about the game of life, a very, very, very serious game, right? Come on, people, question time. Okay, forlorn group is an example of onomatopoeia, oxyonomatopoeia, oxymoron, or personification. What do you think, guys? What do you think? Let's see. Okay, the answer is oxymoron. Okay, forlorn group is oxymoron. Two contrasting words placed side by side. Okay? Okay, chalo. आगे बढ़ते हैं. Let's proceed further. And yes, on this note, I would like to remind you that we would be talking about the poetic devices we would be elaborating on the poetic devices in the next session. That would be on one shot video. Okay, there I would be taking up all the poetic devices. Okay, so how many of you got this correct? Give me a quick high five. Okay, chalo. Last stanza. Now this is showing the outcome, the result. Their logs held tight in death's still hands was proof of human sin. They didn't die from the cold without. They died from the cold within. And here we come to the title. And this is how the title is justified. So remember, I told you at the very first, beginning of the session, what do you understand from cold? So I think some of you had written hatred as your answer, right? So yes, it is hatred. Coldness is hatred, coldness is prejudice, coldness can be jealousy. In Fire and Ice also we saw the same thing. In Fire and Ice, the poet said that the world can be destroyed by hatred, by this ice symbolizing hatred, right? So this is so very powerful that it could lead to the destruction of the world. And we have seen how, because this group is destroyed. Okay, so let's see. Cold without is the cold weather outside. Cold without is the cold outside. That is talking about the weather. Cold within is cold-heartedness. That is lack of warm or loving feelings. When I tell you that when I tell you all that a very warm welcome. So what is this warm welcome? That is lovely feelings. Like I'm having this love for you people. So that love feeling is the warmth. right? And when I say let's break the ice, so ice is what? Ice is coldness. What is this coldness? The lack of communication, right? So here coldness means hatred, okay, cold heartedness, okay. So that is something which needs to be broken, okay. Now we witness the grim aftermath of the group's rigidity of spirit. Death comes and it is personified. I will anyways talk about the other figures of speech. Here it is personification. So death with its still hand. So death is personified here. Each individual became their own agent of death. They were responsible for death, for their own death. Okay, their hands frozen stiff with their refusal to act. Okay, the inertia that we had talked about. Each one of them possessed their firewood still when they died. Okay, and that is the proof of their sin. Each wood is the representation of each sin. Okay, first is racial prejudice. No, first was yes, racial prejudice. Then comes religious prejudice, inequality of wealth, right? So classism. Okay, so that each one is the representation of each sin. And final lines are definitely ironical, very, very ironical, because we realize that it was not the cold weather. Remember, we saw at the beginning of the stanza what was the scene? Six people sitting and fire was burning. So they were suffering from coldness, cold outside. Okay, so that fire needed to be, that needed to be fed by log, right? Logs, which each one of them possessed. So they needed to keep themselves warm, right? And they could have done that easily. Okay, so it is not the cold outside that killed them, but the absence of the warmth within them that was responsible for the death of each and every individual. So lack of warm human spirits, the cold within, was responsible for their death. So see how coldness is responsible for the destruction of the world. Don't you think so? How truly said also by Robert Frost in the poem Fire and Ice. Okay guys, so with that, this is your homework question. Can you guess how the core message of the poem is so relevant to the world community? Please post your answers in the chat box and I will be taking your answers from the comment section and I will be discussing it in the next session, which would be the one-shot video. Okay guys, I hope you have understood the poem and I hope you have enjoyed it. So if you have, then don't forget to hit the like button, share the video amongst your friends and do subscribe to the channel because we would be coming up with all the chapters of your syllabus, ICSE, CBSE, grade 9, grade 10. Okay guys, so do not miss any of these sessions. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Take care.